Hello, I'm Senator David Leyonhjelm. I'm a lifelong shooter and lead candidate for the Liberal Democrats in New South Wales. I've brought my favourite rifle. It's a Parker Hale 308 Winchester 7.62 calibre range rifle to ANZAC shooting range because I've got a story to tell you about how I saved this place from closing down. Shortly after I was sworn in as a senator in July 2014, I sought a meeting with the New South Wales Rifle Association to discuss their precarious tenure on the ANZAC rifle range at Malabar. That's 11 kilometres southeast of the Sydney CBD. ANZAC rifle range is a vital facility for the more than 50,000 shooters in the Sydney Basin. Loss of the range would have a devastating effect on the shooting sports. Having somewhere to shoot is fundamentally important to the future of the sport. ANZAC range has been in continuous use as a range for well over 100 years. Dozens of shooting clubs use it as their base. But it is situated in a beautiful location on a coastal headland. There are plenty of others who would love to have it, very few of whom are sympathetic to the shooting sports. The land is owned by the Commonwealth, and for the best part of 20 years there had been a determined effort to kick the shooters off. Both Liberal and Labor federal governments have been involved, supported from the sidelines by New South Wales Liberal and Labor state government.
It's just not feasible to have people discharging firearms in a location like this.
What is upsetting for us at the moment, of course, is that the Malabar headland is in the way of allowing us to complete the coastal walkway.
Twice the New South Wales Rifle Association had taken the Commonwealth to court to prevent their eviction, and both times they had succeeded. But the legal costs were crippling, and the government had succeeded in kicking off all the clubs other than the Rifle Association. I used to be a regular shooter at Malabar myself, and I had followed the legal cases and other difficulties over many years. I was aware that things were grim, that the Rifle Association was the only group, the only club, still on the range, and there was no let-up in the pressure. I knew the association had sought help from other political parties, but despite sympathetic noises, nothing had changed. Nobody was really that interested. At the meeting with the Rifle Association, soon after my election, I also discovered the range landlord, the Federal Department of Finance, was continuing to make life very difficult for the Rifle Association, insisting on extensive repairs and maintenance intended to drive the association from the range. I was determined that shooters were not going to be defeated on this issue.
We just want somebody to make a decision whether we're relocated or whether we stay here.
My starting point was to ensure that there were just two options. Either the shooters were permitted to remain at Malabar, or if they moved, they were provided with another facility of equivalent standard in the Sydney Basin at government expense. There were many meetings over the next 18 months, including one here at the range, involving the Minister for Finance, Senator Cormann, and the Secretary of the Department of Finance. I investigated options for relocating the shooters and had preliminary budgets prepared. I reminded the government of the legitimacy of the shooters' claim to the range and its poor track record in dealing with them. Ultimately, I was successful. The government, specifically Senator Cormann, agreed with me to offer the Rifle Association a new secure lease of 25 years plus a 25-year option, with a clause obliging the government to provide an equivalent facility elsewhere in the Sydney area if it wants the shooters to leave. Part of the coastal headland was also gifted to New South Wales for use as a national park when the range is not in operation. ANZAC rifle range is now secure. The shooting clubs are back on, enjoying their sport and upgrading facilities in the knowledge that they are there to stay. It's a great outcome which would not have occurred but for the determination and commitment of the Liberal Democrats and our willingness to stand up for shooters.